this video has single-handedly made one of the biggest messes of my floor, my shelves. Like, you should just like write out of eyeliner all of these stacks of books, because I'm going to be talking about my favorite series of all time. And I was like, well, maybe I'll just pull off like my favorite book out of each of them. No, I pulled off the whole series. I'm going to talk about them all. Obviously, I am not going to be able to go super in depth with every single book, because some of these are interconnected standalone series. Some of these follow the same couples. So I can't go in depth with every single book because I am bad at estimating, but I'd say I have probably like 60 books around me right now that can make up all these series. So actually probably more than that. That's what we're going to do today. This is just my all-time top tier A-list series of all time. I have mostly romance with 2 fantasy series. So that's what we're gonna do. These are in no particular order because they're literally just piles here. So let's just go ahead and jump in. I don't even know like where to start here. Let's start off with the stack back here and get it out of the way. And that is the ACOTAR series by Sarah J. Maas. This was my first kind of like fantasy romance series I ever read back in 2020, and I just instantly fell in love with them. I have reread these books, I think maybe 4 or 5 times. Hi, Dorian. We'll get to your namesake in a minute here. But yeah, it is 5 books currently. There are, I think, at least 2 more that she's planning on publishing eventually. The first 4 follow the POV from Feyre, our heroine, and then the second one is a different couple, which I won't really say anything, just in case, like, if you haven't read it, I don't want to like accidentally spoil anything. But my favorite book by far in the series, well, my favorite 2 by far in the series are A Court of Mist and Fury and A Court of Wings and Ruin. These are books 2 and 3. This one is my favorite of them all. I love the battle sequences in here. It's Fae. It's like a kind of, the first one is a little bit of like a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and then it kind of goes from there, but it follows a human girl entering into the Fae realm when she kills a wolf that she was not supposed to, and then like in return for his death she has to go and live with the Fae over there. But obviously there's a lot more to it, but like I said, I'm not really going in depth with these. But also these have these beautiful dust jackets that Sam from Sam Reads a Little had gifted me, because she ended up with duplicates of them, and they are just truly so beautiful. Especially, I love this one. Anyways, ACOTAR is forever and always a favorite series of mine. Fantasy, romance, it like balances the line perfectly for my tastes. Next up is one that is a newer one. It's a new series from this year. Well, it's not a new series from this year. It was new to me this year. I fell in love with it. I haven't shut up talking about it, and it's going to be my favorite reads of the year, and that is the Legacy of God series by Rena Kent. Listen up right here. If you have watched any of my videos this year, there's a chance that you have heard me talk about at least one or multiple of these books. It's like a mafia kind of like second generation series, kind of taking place at these 2 universities where all of these kids kind of go from these wealthy high society families, and they're all interconnected standalones, and they're all a part of like her universe. So all of the parents have like various books that you can read as well. I have not read all of the parents. I was able to read this and make perfect sense of it. Out of these, you start with God of Malice, unhinged, sociopathic MC, and check your triggers. I mean, check your triggers on any of these books. These ones are darker on all the ones I have on here. Some dubcon, non-con right off the bat with these 2. Killian is absolutely insane, and I love him for it. God of Malice, Mafia Princess, Grumpy Sunshine. He's got a lot of trauma in his past. I love Creighton King. Probably I don't know, I really don't know how I would rank these. This is up there with my favorites. God of Wrath is my absolute favorite. Mafia Prince, Stalking, yeah, Jeremy and Cecily, I don't even know what to say about them that wouldn't just turn into like a 5-page essay. I love them so much. This is my favorite book I've read so far this year. God of Ruin, definitely a really, really strong FMC in this one, and a hero that is just, once again, a little bit of a sociopath, just kind of likes watching the world burn. God of Fury, Grumpy Sunshine, MM, again, another mafia prince and kind of like a buttoned up guy. Love this one, again, up there with my favorites. And then God of War, again, the last one that just came out recently, one of my favorites in this series as well, and like a marriage of convenience kind of amnesia romance. I love this entire series. I gave literally all of them 5 stars. I truly loved each and every one of these books, and I think I'm gonna to get the audiobooks of them all so that way I can reread them that way. I did start rereading God of Malice physically, but then I was like, oh, you literally just read these, so I'm going to get the audios so that way I can listen to them again just because I want to reread them again. They're dark. All of the MCs are super protective. They're perfect. I mean, let's talk about this one actually, because I'm sure you guys are like, you didn't talk about this one first. Like I said, no particular order, but if there were to be an order, Off Balance series would be first. These are my Dark and Disturbed. A lot of the ones that I have special editions of, I grabbed those off just because I don't get to show them off as much. These are the Dark and Disturbed oh my God, Off Balance books. They're also so heavy and huge. It is a 5-book series with like a kind of epilogue book, Out of Bounds. It's like kind of like deleted scenes, what have you, that kind of stuff. So it's not like you don't need to read it in order to like have the completion of Rhea and Kova's story. It does just take place basically over 5 books, and it is an age gap forbidden romance between a gymnast and her gymnastics coach Kova. She has her eyes on gold. She wants to go to the Olympics, and Kova is going to be the coach that can take her there, and then it turns into their romance. But obviously they cannot be together for a multitude of reasons. There's cheating, it's toxic, it's back and forth, it's angsty, it's dramatic, it's like inspiring at times too. Like, I literally love this series with my entire heart and soul. I've reread them 3 times now. I will probably do a 4th because, again, I think I want to get the audiobooks to do my next reread of them just because I've spent so much time like eyeball reading them that I don't really need to do that again. But I just truly love these. There's a lot of sports in here, so especially if you like sports romances and want some good sports content. And again, the coach athlete trope, oh, it's just so good. And the tension, everything. I have literally not a singular complaint about this series. It is forever and always an all-time favorite of mine, and I don't think I need to say more because you guys already know that. And my favorite book in Off Balance is Twist, book 4, or Dismount, which is book 5. But also like Execution is really good too. I don't know. They're all good. I don't really have a least favorite, I guess. Let's go lighter hearted, and again, one that I feel like everyone knows, but I read these back in 2020 and they really helped get me into romance even more after I read After. Oh, okay, maybe we'll bring that out at the end. But the Off Campus series by Elle Kennedy, they are hockey romances. The first 4 books, they all follow different guys in a friend group and their couple, and then this last one is like an epilogue book again. Honestly, I don't really like the legacy, so we can put that aside. I'm not a big fan of like epilogue books. I just don't care. Like, I'm more about seeing the couple get to their happily ever after. I don't need to like see them in their happily ever after. But these 4 books are true college hockey romance perfection to me. Okay, so it all starts out with the deal. Again, they're all hockey players, so that goes without saying, but she is his tutor and he agrees to kind of fake date her a little bit in order to make the guy that she has a crush on jealous. But obviously then they end up falling in love with each other and it's fake dating. And again, this is a god tier book for me of all time. My second favorite in the series. My first favorite in the series is The Mistake, book 2. This is Second Chance. John Logan, he messes up at the beginning with Grace, and then he decides that he wants her back, and she gives him a pretty hefty list of things to do if she's gonna trust him again. But oh, he earns his trust back anyways. I love him. He is perfection, ultimate book boyfriend for me. Then we have The Score, kind of like fuckboy energy with Dean, and then Allie is best friends with the heroine from the first book, and they kind of like hide their relationship a little bit because they don't really want anyone knowing that they're together. And then the goal, this one is accidental or like surprise pregnancy after a one-night stand, and then the 2 of them kind of like working together. And like Sabrina, our heroine, she does not really ever trust anyone, so then learning to trust Tucker and knowing that she can rely on him. Oh, I love this series. It's fun, it's lighthearted, but there are also some like heavy moments with these characters. The writing's like, it just sucks you in. It's so easy to binge them, and yeah, they're just very enjoyable, fun books. And again, I think I've reread at least the first 3, I think 3 times, and maybe I've read The Goal like twice. The Goal is my least favorite of them all, but when I say that, I still gave it 4 stars, so like I still love it. It's no mistake or deal to me. Next up, let's get this series out of the way, which some of these got out of order, which also, this is like literally a workout, lifting and holding all of these up. But we have my other fantasy series on this list, which is I would say, if I'm talking like, if I'm picking a singular romance series, it's going to be Off Balance, and if I'm picking a singular fantasy series, it is going to be the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. So this was actually, I think, my first ever videos on the show. Don't go back and watch it. Actually, I think it's coming up on a year. I spent literally the summer of 2020 reading these books, and I was forever changed. Those were my first 2 ever reading vlogs that I uploaded. I did part 1 and part 2 of reading the entire Throne of Glass series. This would be one thing that it's like, okay, if I ever lost my memory, these would be the first books that I would pick up again to read for the first time, because they are truly the best journey I've ever read. A favorite heroine I've ever read. So many characters, like a huge cast of characters in these books, and I love them. Fantasy, but like there's romance in it too, but it's definitely like very plot driven. The character arcs are amazing. The battle sequences are incredible. Like literally I have not a single complaint about this series. I love it so much. So Assassin's Blade is a collection of novellas. So I actually read this last. There's a lot of like opinions about where you read it in reading order. Some people say read it after Crown of Midnight or after Heir of Fire, or to start with it. I would say don't start with it. I read it at the end. You can kind of read it however you want, but otherwise it goes Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, Heir of Fire, Queen of Shadows, Empire of Storms, and Tower of Dawn. They take place kind of at the same time, so some people tandem read them. I haven't done that before. That's too much work for me. And then Kingdom of Ash is the big finale. So out of these, my favorite books in them, definitely Empire of Storms book 5, Kingdom of Ash, the finale book. As you can see, I have my tabs in there. And then Queen of Shadows, which is book 4. I love so many of these characters. I mean, obviously you guys know Dorian, or maybe you didn't know my cat Dorian. I did name him after Dorian Havillard, who is a character in this series who I love very, very much. I love Kale. I know so many people hate him. I love him. I felt like I felt he was redeemed with Tower of Dawn. I actually love this book. Yrene. I love Yrene. Manon. Oh, shut up. Literally, I remember when she was introduced in this book and I was like, I do not care about this. I do not care about this whole like group. I don't care about these POV chapters. What's going on? She ended up being one of my favorites. I don't know how many times I've cried reading Kingdom of Ash and even Empire of Storms. It's just truly like the most epic series I've ever read. I think about it all the time. It's truly just one of the best things I've ever read in my entire life, and I will truly never get over it. And once again, I'm waiting now for these to come to graphic audio because I want to reread them again. I've reread it twice, but I want to listen to the graphic audios if they ever do those. So I'm holding out for that. I was definitely just distracted by trying to say everything, but I felt like I said nothing. But somehow I didn't mention Aelin, aka my favorite heroine of all time. Love her. This is a lot. This is a lot. Next up, we have another tried and true of all time, Devil's Night series. You will notice that a lot of these books, I keep saying I read these back in 2020. I feel like that was just a golden year of reading for me where I found some all-time favorites. But truly, Devil's Night series has stuck with me since I've read it. I love Penelope Douglas. They're one of my favorite authors of all time. I've read almost their entire backlist. I hate that I can't say that now because I'm behind on their 2 newest releases. But truly, Devil's Night series is just where it is at for me. It's a dark romance series, again, following 4 friends and their different couples, and they're all told in past and present. And basically the entire premise is every year on Devil's Night in this town, these 4 guys basically go out and like wreak havoc, and one night things go wrong and 3 of them end up getting sent to prison. And then in the present time with these books, you are getting them when the 3 of them are out and they have some revenge that the 4 of them would all like to extract for them being sent to prison. And it's definitely a little messed up at times. Super hot. The bonds, the found family, the character development, I love it. And these are my Mystic Box ones. Again, pulling out the special editions when I can. So there are 4 main books in here that follow each of the couples, and then this is 2 novellas, Conclave and Fire Night. So Conclave takes place actually between Killswitch and Nightfall, and then Fire Night is like an afterwards kind of like what they're doing in the future kind of novella. Start with Corrupt, and this one is ex's brother and revenge romance. This is my least favorite of them all. I still love it. Just Michael and Rika, they don't do it for me compared to Kai and Banks. This is my favorite. Well, Hideaway and Killswitch we're gonna get to in a second. Books 2 and 3 are my favorite. I love Hideaway. This is Best Friend's Sister, and again, hate to love and kind of marriage of convenience a little bit, or like arranged marriage kind of, I guess. I love this one. Kai, again, ultimate book boyfriend for me, and Banks. ultimate book girlfriend. I love the two of them. Amazing. Kill Switch. Oh my god. I remember when I was going into this book, because this one follows Damon, who is a character that you're basically like taught to hate from the beginning. This is his book, and I was like, I don't know how he is going to be redeemed. He's terrible. I love him now, and I would protect him with my entire heart and soul, okay? Our heroine's blind in this one from an accident when she was a child, and now in the present, her sister is now married to Damon, and he basically did that so that way he could keep Winter close. He's a little toxic with his methods, but he just does it out of love for her. And then Nightfall is the last one. And this one, again, is like second chance-ish and like forced proximity between Will and Emery. It's a thick, it doesn't look that thick, but it's a long one. But again, just the way that all these characters and all the plot came together. I love that it's like, yes, it's extremely hot, but there's also a good amount of plot in these, and I love. And the novellas, I mean, they're fine. I don't love novellas, so like, I'm not really a fair judge of them. Now, let's do the Twisted series, a not so dark one. I mean, yes, some of them do have their darker moments, but let's switch it up a little bit and go a little bit lighter. These are all contemporary romances following 4 heroines, all part of the same friend group. A lot of different tropes in these, but again, each and every one of these hits. The friendships are great, the character development is great, the relationship development is great, the plot is there, the spice is there. And again, these are my Fairy Loot special editions that are gorgeous, stunning, amazing. So Twisted Love, this is brother's best friend, grumpy sunshine billionaire romance. Probably my favorite hero of them all. I love Alex. As soon as I read this book, I was like, oh, I love him. And this was a top book of 2021 for me. And then Twisted Hate, we'll get into, is a top book of 2022. I love all of these books. I've given them all 5 stars, but I do have to say Alex is probably my favorite hero. Twisted Games, this is a bodyguard princess romance. This is the one that grew on me the most on the reread. Granted, I loved it the first time I read it, but I was like, this is probably my least favorite of the series. Now I truly don't know, because I had like a whole new appreciation for Bridget and Reese's dynamic. I loved them. Bodyguard princess is great. Twisted Hate, this is hate to love, like enemies with benefits. And her best friend Ava from the blue book that I just held up, Twisted Love. Josh is her brother, and he's a doctor, and they are my favorite couple of this entire series. I love them so much. This is my favorite book. Their burn of their relationship is everything. The hate turning into love slowly but surely is so good. So good. My favorite. And then Twisted Lies, another billionaire romance. Christian Harper is also up there of favorite book boyfriend for me. He's tied with Alex for being my favorite of the series. And Forced Proximity, and Stella is an influencer, and they kind of do a little bit of fake dating to kind of help both of them out in both of their careers. Love them all. Also, these editions are so beautiful. Next up, I was debating on including this or not, because I was like, can I kind of cheat and include it in duets? But I'm going to include it here because it is technically a series, and that is the From Nothing series by Nordica Knight. This is these are all romances. These first 2 follow the same couple, Devin and Maddox, and then this third one is their brothers, Xavi and Nate. And they all take place in this trailer park, and these first 2 are motocross, hate to love, enemies to lovers, sports romance, and like very good caretaking, but definitely like enemies with benefits, and they don't like each other and they hate how much they want each other. I talk about Garen Park all the time. It is like it was one of my top books that I read last year. I absolutely love it. It was actually, I think this was my top book that I read last year. I love this duet. Also this one. So this one kind of ends on like a happy for now, so you could stop with this one. I personally really love Lot 62 and the extra depth that it goes into with those characters. And then the third one is obviously their brothers. It's friends to lovers. This one is not, obviously, am I gonna always go for hate to love or friends to love? I'm gonna always pick hate, but the friends is like good too. Like this was a lot more wholesome. Like they were just cute together. And yeah, it's pretty much just them. They run a business together, and it's them just kind of like learning that maybe they want more than just friendship, because they're used to kind of sharing girls between them, and they're like, maybe we actually don't even want the girl in the middle of us anymore, you know? Love the From Nothing series. And again, I feel like a lot of these have been really long series, so if you need something a little shorter, here you go. Okay, we're really getting down there. I think I have my last 4 series, and then I have a few honorable mentions, which I guess I should have said at the beginning of this, that I needed all of these series to have I have read all of the books that are out in them. Because yes, there are some series that I love, but I am not completely caught up, so I feel like therefore I cannot make it a favorite of all time. So I had to have read all of the books in the series, and then, so some of the honorable mention ones are ones that I love, but I can't definitively put that on this list yet. So I think I have 4 more left, which next up, let's hold up one of the last like really, really big boys that I have in this series. Is so ridiculously heavy because these books are just heavy and I don't know why. And that is, well, I'm going to prop it on my knee. The Addicted / Calloway Sisters series. So this is a 10-book series following 3 different couples. The 3 heroines are all sisters, and then the guys, they all get their own stories. So these first 3 books all are Lily and Lo's. Then we jump to Rose and Connor with Kiss the Sky. Then we jump to Reich and Daisy with Hot House Flower. Back to Lily and Lo for these next 2. Back to Rose and Connor. Back to Reich and Daisy, and then an epilogue book. This thick one is an epilogue book with all 3 couples and all 6 POVs. I think it's all 6 POVs. I love the hell out of this series. All of these families, so like the daughters all come from a very wealthy family. They basically own like a fictional version of Coca-Cola, so they've just grown up wealthy and always had like kind of these expectations placed on them. And Lily and Lo, there is a friends to lovers, and they both kind of enable each other. Lily is addicted to sex and Lo is addicted to alcohol, and that's kind of like where it all starts. Kiss the Sky, it's academic rivals to lovers. Rose is very type A and she doesn't really let anyone in. And Connor, again, is from another wealthy family, and he loves Rose's kind of black cat energy and like likes challenging her. Reich and Daisy, they're definitely more of like the free-spirited couple of them all. It is a bit of an age gap with them. I don't really want to say anything more. I don't want to accidentally give anything away. I love this entire series. It was my favorite that I read a couple of years ago. My favorite book out of them all is Kiss the Sky, Rose and Connor's, but followed behind, I love Hot House Flower and I really love Addicted for Now. Those are probably like my 3 favorites out of the whole series. But yeah, it's just truly like these characters feel very, very real. Like Krista and Becca Ritchie do a great job of creating a lot of drama, but it's not like ever really like the couples are breaking up over stupid things. Like it's more them working together, the problems together. That didn't make sense. I'm like losing my mind. These are also so heavy. I'm like actually sick of making this video just because of the mess that I've made. I kind of can't stand it even sitting around it. So anyways, I'm gonna kind of wrap that up. I love this entire series. These characters just feel very, very real, and Krista and Becca Ritchie's writing just like sucks you in, and you like don't even realize that you're reading like 500 pages because it's just like you're just in it. Next up, the Wolf Hotel series by K.A. Tucker. A nice little series to hold on to. As you can see, these are very quick, bingeable. This is a boss employee romance following Abby and Henry. All 5 books are theirs, so you definitely get to go on a huge journey with them. It all starts with Tempt Me. This is book 1, and then we have Break Me, which is my favorite book of the series. Surrender Me. Ooh. Or no, wait, what is this one? Teach Me, Surrender Me, Own Me. This one just came out, I think, no, it didn't come out this year. Maybe last year. Loved it. Anyways, CEO, billionaire, boss romance. So basically after a breakup that Abby goes through, she decides to apply for this internship out in Alaska at the Wolf Hotel to go and work out there. And when she gets out there, there is a mess up with her job, and she ends up, instead of being a part of the landscaping crew, she is now the assistant to Henry Wolf, who is the owner of the Wolf Hotel, and it ends up being their romance. It's great. Super, super bingeable. Like literally, I think all these books are like around 280 pages. Very quick, very hot, very fun. Okay, you knew they were coming. Camorra Chronicles by Cora Riley. Yeah, so I didn't pull the Born in Blood Chronicles off because I'm like, choose one. Even though both of those series, all-time favorite mafia worlds, but Camorra is where it's at for me. These are all mafia series taking place out in Las Vegas. They kind of play into the Born in Blood Chronicles by Cora Riley as well. And then they also have a second generation series called Sins of the Fathers. But Camorra is where it's at. These are my all-time favorite mafia books. I love them all. My personal I did say with Wolf Hotel, which my favorite was. Twisted Loyalties, which is book 1, is actually a heroine that is not involved in the mafia and the enforcer of Las Vegas, who's also the little brother of some of the ones from the Born in Blood. It sounds convoluted. I have an entire video explaining. It's like a guide to Cora Riley. I love this one, probably my 3rd favorite in the series. Twisted Emotions, my 2nd favorite. This one is an arranged marriage between Nino and Kiara, and definitely like a scarred heroine and a hero who's just really patient with her. And also, he does not feel anything. He does not feel emotions. But for Kiara, he's ready to like protect what's his. Twisted Pride, my absolute favorite. This is a captor-captive, enemies to lovers romance where Remo kidnaps Serafina, our heroine, on her wedding day in Chicago. Then Twisted Bonds, this is Nino and Kiara's 2nd book. Really love this one. Twisted Hearts, Savio. Oh, I should have said that this one follows all of the brothers of the Camorra. So this is the 3rd brother, and it's a best friend's little sister romance, and he's just like a fuckboy, quite frankly. And then Twisted Cravings, this is the youngest one. This is Adamo and Dinara, and it's kind of like star-crossed lovers and like some more like racing. It's not super mafia heavy, but also a revenge romance. He helps Dinara exact her revenge on people who harmed her in the past. I love this entire mafia series. I don't need to say more at this point, honestly. I've talked about those I don't even know how many times on my channel. And last but not least, the Mindfuck series by St. Abbey. So this is actually 5 books in one. They're more like novella sized, and it is a serial killer FBI profiler romance following Lana and Logan. Yes, they all follow the same couple. Basically, Lana is a serial killer who is going on, not a rampage, she's got a plan, she's got a list, and she's just exacting her revenge that she deserves to get. And Logan ends up being the profiler that is assigned to her case, but they meet accidentally, they have a little bit of a meet cute, and then Lana learns that like Logan is the one tracking her, and he has no idea that the new woman that he is dating is also the serial killer that he is hunting. So good. Again, the plot I love. I support women's wrongs, and I love Lana. I was rooting for her. If you aren't rooting for her, then I don't know what you're doing when you're reading this. I love this series. Very, very fun and very quick, because again, they're 5 novellas, so they just kind of keep you, and they all end on cliffhanger, so it keeps you jumping one into the other. Okay, and honestly, I mean, that's all that I had. I'm tired of this video, quite frankly, but I am going to quickly just throw in my honorable mentions, and I'm not pulling them off of the shelves, but the ones that I haven't finished all of the books in the series, but if I did, they would also be included probably, and that would be Salacious Players Club by Sarah Kate. Mercy is my favorite out of that one. It's a spicy club series following different couples, following the owners of the club. However, I have not read Madame, which is book 6, so I can't include it here. The Alchemy series by Elodie Hart, again, another spicy club romance following the owners of the club. Unfurl, which is book 1, is my favorite. I have not read the 2, actually I think the 6th one like literally just came out like a couple days ago, so I haven't read that one, and I haven't read book 5, but I've read the first 4 and I love them all. They're all very hot but beautifully written. Next, the Falling Away series by Penelope Douglas, the first series that they ever wrote. I love that. Jax and Juliet book 3, that is my favorite one out of the whole series. I think it's called, what is it called? Oh, it's called Falling Away. Oh, the series is called Fall Away, and that one is called Falling Away, and that is my favorite book out of those all. Oh, but I have read all of those in that series. It's just not like up there with like Devil's Nights. That's why I'm like, I'm not gonna include it on this list, but it is like honorable mention. Then the Like Us series by Krista and Becca Ritchie, which is the 2nd generation of the Addicted / Calloway Sisters series. I have read the first 8 books, and there are 13 of those, so obviously cannot include them, but I absolutely love that series. And let's see, Alpha's Like Us, which is book 3, and Tangled Like Us, which is book 4, are my 2 favorite books in that series. And the Brutal Birthright series by Sophie Lark. Again, I actually have read all 6 of those books, but again, like, especially comparing Mafia, it doesn't stand up to Camorra Chronicles for me, so I'm like, it doesn't get to make all time, but I do love the Brutal Birthright series. And Savage Lover book 3 and Heavy Crown book 6 are my 2 favorites of that series. That is my favorite series of all time video. So now I've done an updated favorite standalones, an updated favorite series. I am going to do, I think, favorite duets video, but I don't know when I'll do that one. I think because there's a second part of a duet that I haven't read that I kind of want to before that, because I think it'll end up on there. But yeah, okay, that is it for today's video. I'm like overstimulated, honestly, by like the mess that is now surrounding me, so I just like really need to wrap this video so that way I can get it picked back up, because it's honestly like driving me crazy just sitting around all of these piles. So Anyways, that is it for today's video. I think on Friday I'm going to have my 5-star predictions up. I think that's going to be Fridays. We will see, but I think as of right now, that's kind of what I'm planning. So anyways, that is it for today's video, and I will see you when I see ya.